This forum comes at a defining moment for Africa and for the global economy, when we are witnessing great disruptions and reorganization of supply chains around the world. Climate commitments are reshaping industry. Investors are looking for destinations that combine sustainability, competitiveness, and long-term growth. And in this emerging global order, we see this as Africa's moment. Africa today stands at the intersection of climate action and economic transformation. And in this juncture, this continent of Africa possesses 4 extraordinary natural advantages. Number 1, vast renewable energy potential with abundant solar, wind, hydro, and geothermal resources capable of powering large-scale clean industrial development. Number 2, abundant critical minerals essential for the global energy transition, including cobalt, lithium, manganese, platinum, and rare earth elements required for batteries, electric vehicles, and renewable technologies. Number 3, Africa is expanding its regional market and integrating it, driven by the African Continental Free Trade Area, which is creating a single market of 1.4 billion people and a GDP combined of around $3 trillion. And lastly, Africa has the world's youngest and fastest growing workforce, providing the talent, innovation, and labor force required to power the industries of the future. Yet, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, despite these advantages, investment flows remain low in Africa. Although Africa holds nearly 40% of the world's renewable energy potential, the continent has received only about 2% of global renewable energy investment over the past 1 decade. Correcting this imbalance is a climate imperative. It is also an investment opportunity of this generation. Africa leaders have already charted the path forward through the Nairobi Declaration on Climate Change that took place in this city in 2023 during the Africa Climate Summit. The continent articulated a bold and practical vision for climate positive growth. The declaration recognizes that while Africa contributes the least to global emissions, it faces some of the most severe climate impacts. At the same time, the transition to a low carbon global economy presents a historic opportunity for Africa to industrialize sustainably. It therefore sets an ambitious goal to scale Africa's renewable energy capacity from 56 gigawatts today. I think we got a higher figure from the experts, slightly higher, I think it was 67. That shows you I was following. To at least 300 gigawatts powering industries, manufacturing, and economic transformation across the continent. This is not simply an energy transition, it is a clean energy-powered industrial revolution. Kenya is proud to play a central role in advancing this continental vision. Today, 93% of Kenya's electricity generation comes from renewable sources, including geothermal, wind, hydro, and solar. This places Kenya among the world's leaders in clean energy. For investors seeking to build low-carbon manufacturing platforms, Kenya offers a compelling proposition. Our strategic location, anchored by the Port of Mombasa and the Northern Corridor provides connectivity to regional markets across East and Central Africa. Combined with a young, skilled workforce and steadily improving infrastructure, Kenya offers investors a competitive gateway into Africa's green industrial economy. To translate this opportunity into action, the Africa Green Industrialization Initiative was designed as a continental delivery platform that moves us beyond declarations into implementation by developing bankable investment pipelines across sectors that will define the green economy of the future. I want just to highlight the opportunities, which are in about 7 sectors. Number 1 is opportunities for investments in renewable energy generation and grid expansion, scaling solar, wind, geothermal, and hydropower, while strengthening transmission and regional power systems to support industrial growth. The second sector is in critical minerals and value addition, where we need more development of local refining and processing capacity to support global supply chains for batteries, electric vehicles, and clean technologies. Number 3 is sustainable agriculture and green fertilizers, advancing climate-smart agriculture and low-carbon fertilizer production to strengthen food security. Number 4, electric mobility ecosystems, supporting the transition to electric transport through vehicle manufacturing, battery technologies, and charging infrastructure. 5, clean cooking solutions, expanding access to modern and affordable cooking technologies that provide health outcomes and reduce environmental pressure. Number 6, circular economy industries, investing in recycling, waste management, and resource-efficient production systems that create new green energies. And lastly, number 7, in sustainable fuels for aviation and maritime transport, developing alternative fuels such as green hydrogen and sustainable aviation fuels to decarbonize global transport. Together, these sectors represent transformational investment opportunities capable of generating millions of jobs while accelerating global decarbonization. Therefore, as government of Kenya, I need also to highlight we have put in a bit of seed money to encourage private sector investments across these priority sectors through the Kenya Jobs for Economic Transformation project, KJET project, where we are investing $40 million US, equivalent of 5 billion shillings, to de-risk private sector investments in these areas and to crowd in more investment from private sector to promote clean industrialization while creating jobs and empowering the people of Kenya. And at the same time, Africa's energy transition must address a fundamental development challenge. Nearly 600 million Africans, as we've been told, do not have access to electricity. Close to 1 billion Africans also lack access to clean cooking solutions. In Kenya, we are now deliberately repositioning clean cooking, not just as a social or philanthropic intervention, but as a strategic green investment opportunity. This is particularly true in institutional clean cooking, a long overlooked subsector despite its scale and aggregated demand across schools, hospitals, and correctional facilities. Under the leadership of His Excellency President Ruto, Kenya has committed to achieving universal access to clean cooking by 2028, including the transition of public institutions, especially schools, to modern cooking solutions, sending a strong and clear signal to investors and partners. Achieving this transformation, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, will require significant investment. The global transition to low-carbon economy is estimated to require between $4 to $6 trillion annually. Africa must capture a meaningful share of its capital. As governments, our responsibility is clear to provide policy clarity, regulatory certainty, and you've heard from the minister what we are doing in that space, and credible project pipelines. Development finance institutions must deploy blended finance. I think this has been spoken to before by previous speakers, and risk mitigation instruments, while the private sector must step forward as the primary driver of innovation and investment. Investors today are not looking for aspirations, they are looking for credible projects, structured pipelines, and reliable partnerships. The AGII Forum therefore focuses on translating ideas into bankable opportunities and facilitating real transactions across clean energy, sustainable industries, and green value chains. In this regard, I am pleased to note that today we are launching the Institutional Clean Cooking Investment Sector PAC, which moves us from ambition to clearly defined investment pipeline. Kenya's National Cooking Transition Strategy estimates that approximately $430 million is required to achieve universal access to clean cooking at the household level. We are also unveiling a Ban Manufacturing Electric cook stove, a flagship example of how innovation, manufacturing, and clean energy can come together to deliver affordable electric cooking solutions at scale. In addition, we are presenting a circular economy investment prospectus highlighting the opportunities in recycling waste, management, and resource-efficient industries that can create jobs while reducing environmental impact. These demonstrate that Africa's green industrial transition is not theoretical, it is practical, investable, and is already underway. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the transition to green global economy is inevitable. The only question before us is where the industries of the future will be built. As a country, Kenya is ready to work with partners across Africa and around the world to unlock this extraordinary potential and opportunity. Together, let us transform Africa into a globally competitive hub for sustainable manufacturing and green innovation. Let us ensure that the next chapter of global industrialization is written in Africa and powered by Africa's green energy. Ladies and gentlemen, before I exit the stage, let me just summarize what I have said in one sentence, which is that about one generation ago, a huge transformation took place, and a paradigm shift took place around the globe, powered by globalization and its antecedents. That is 30, 40 years ago. The next 40 years will not be defined by globalization, neither will they be influenced by globalization and its antecedents, because globalization is behind us. They will be defined by other drivers. And those three drivers into the future are: one, the people. Everything we do, the investments we make, the policy decisions we make must be centered around the people. I'm trying to convert Utula Kilonso's political statement into science. Every decision we make, every intervention we make must be centered around the people and transforming their lives, empowering them, and the people in their diversity and in their inclusivity, including women, the youth, and everybody else in between. Number two, the future of the world, the next generation, besides the people, the other driver of a new future is going to be technology. And that's where today's discussion comes in. We must move into technologies that help us harness today's challenges and create a more sustainable world into the next generation. So technology across board, and therefore the energy transition, for example, is part of that technological shift. Digitalization and the move from the physical to the digital is going to be another technology issue around the future of the world. The third and last driver, besides the people and technology, is going to be partnerships. The public sector driven reform and public sector driven change is not going to be tenable in the future for various reasons. That the public sector around the world does not have all the ideas that we need to define our future. So we need extra ideas from the private sector. The public sector does not have all the resources that we require to transform the world into a better world. And therefore we will need to tap into investments and private sector capital. And the only way to blend the ideas of the public sector, the resources of the public sector with those of the private sector is through initiatives like these ones. And that's why for us in Kenya, we are very keen on public-private partnerships that are going to define our world into the future, including areas where it was thought that it was government space in terms of infrastructure, including energy infrastructure. We don't have enough ideas. We don't have enough resources. We need to partner with private sector and allow private sector to put in their money and their ideas, de-risk the private sector's investments, and that's why we are putting $40 million US in KJET, but we want to crowd in maybe 10 times, 20 times, 30 times resources in terms of resources from the private sector. So in a nutshell, one generation from now, Africa, the place of Africa in the global economy a generation from now will be defined by what measures we take and how fast we hook into the drivers of the future. And these drivers are the people, technology, and partnerships. Thank you and have a good morning.